I never thought that I would experience my mom going to prison. My name's Timothy. I'm 24 years old, and I just got married to my amazing, beautiful wife, Tori. My childhood was really good. I had a really good relationship with my mom. I can remember going on trips, listening to endless CDs. I would sit in the front seat, and she would just say, anything you want to listen to, you pick the CD and we'll just play it. So it was just around the age when I was 10 years old. One morning around 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the morning, there was a knock on the door. Police just started swarming our apartment, and I just remember being scared and just heart pumping, adrenaline going, like, what is going on? And watching her like get in the car and drive away. The biggest thing that I remember is feeling scared and not knowing what was going to happen next, who I was really going to live with. Obviously, the relationship of my mother and I changed drastically, because going from hanging out every day to 15-minute phone calls every Sunday or every other Sunday whenever she could call was pretty hard. And then it was around that time that I moved out to live with my dad, and that made it easier at times, but things got bad due to his drug use. Eventually I moved back to Arizona with my grandparents, and my grandma relapsed to drinking alcohol, and so they got a divorce, and then I stayed with my grandpa at the time. Then he got remarried, and she had 3 other kids. And I remember thinking, like, I didn't want to hang around with 3 other random people. And this was also around the same time where me and my original friends from elementary school had gone up to middle school and just got involved in drugs, started partying, and just kind of living that lifestyle. I didn't even think about God at all. So finally, after moving around a lot, I was basically stuck with this family who were always going to church. I remember getting into trouble a lot with this new family, getting grounded, not being allowed to go anywhere, do anything, but the only place that I was allowed to go was church with them. And I remember the first time that I went to church, and it was a Sunday morning, and I walked in, and too many people were happy, too many people were excited, and this was still something that I wanted nothing to do. I didn't want to be there. I sat by myself in the back row, and I remember the music starting, and I remember sitting there actually thinking that, okay, this music is not how I imagined. And I was starting to like it, and I couldn't tell you what the message was about, but I remember liking the music, and I wasn't sure why some of the other people were just raising their hands. Some people were even on their knees, and I didn't understand it at first, but what I did know was that they seemed to be in a place of joy. It was at that moment that I realized that joy is in the church, joy is in Jesus. And eventually I got to the point where I didn't mind being grounded because the only place I could go to was church. And I was actually starting to enjoy going. I made a few friends there, and I started enjoying the messages. And when I started to attend church more and get more involved, that's when I realized that God was slowly working on my heart and just convicting me of some of the ways that I was living. And as I was getting more plugged in with the church, I had also realized that God has given me a talent for music, and so I wanted to also play music there. And I had thought that my audition went well. I think it went well. And I remember getting a letter back saying that I didn't make the team. And I got that letter on a Sunday, and that Sunday night I ran in to the worship leader, and he encouraged me to keep getting involved, keep pursuing Jesus, and wanted me to try out next year. And so I did. Yep, the next year I auditioned and made the team. So that's how I got planted, I guess, in the worship ministry. My mom finally got out of prison this past September after 14 years. And one of the biggest things for both of us was that she came to City View on a Sunday morning and got to watch me play drums on the worship team for the first time. She had tears of joy. Another big thing was that my mom was able to attend my wedding after missing like 8th grade promotion and prom, senior year, graduating. This was a really cool thing. Ultimately, it sucked that my mom ended up going to prison, but if she hadn't, I wouldn't have been placed in the family that I was in. I wouldn't have gotten close to the Lord. I wouldn't have even known the Lord. And now it's awesome to see that my mom went to church. My dad sometimes goes to church, and I'm so excited to see what God shows them. And I know that if God can do it with me, then He can do it with others. I never thought that I would find Jesus through my mom going to prison.